Hi, I'm Dave, and welcome back to Black Rattle Life. For those of you who have been here before, thanks for coming back, and for those of you who are new, please feel free to hit the subscribe and like buttons if you like what you see on here. In our last video, we talked about getting our building plans and how that was going to get us out to getting our quotes and bids on projects. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how those bids came in and what the final cost starting off is going to look like. But before we get started, I've got to address something. Normally I don't wear a hat when we're inside, but we were out at Keji the other weekend visiting friends who were camping, and their daughter had been to a second-hand clothing store, and they found this hat that she thought would be perfect for me. So there we go. Sorry, get it there. I don't know if she bought it because she thought I'm always right, or if she knew that I would torture her father by wearing the hat. So thanks, Maddie Hurdle. I really appreciate it. Got a lot of laughs out of it, and I'll wear it often. The other thing I have to address is that I put my microphone on because if I use the other speaker, Melinda's making baking bread in the oven, and the smell is wafting out here, and all you probably hear is my stomach growling. It smells so good. Okay, now back to some more serious things. Take my hat off here. It's a little warm in here, and hopefully the shine of my head doesn't affect the video. So in our last video, like I said, we got our building plans, and we sent out our plans with requests for proposals for bids on things. So we've gotten most of those back now. In the time we built the house, this would have been in probably early November of mid-November of 2023. So, I'm going back in the past and talking about how we built the house. But our quotes came in, and this was really our last chance to fully decide whether we thought we could do it and if we thought we would save some money. So at the end of the video, I'll show you the total prices. I'll give them as I go along for each section. But I'll also talk about the price that we were given by contractors to build the house, and just to give you some idea how much money you can save by doing this yourself. So I'm going to be reading notes off my phone, so if you see me looking away, it's not that I'm not paying attention to you, it's that my memory's not as good as it used to be. So starting off with our costs, we had our septic system, which by this time was already put in, and we had talked to our builder John, and the cost for our septic was $13,500. That includes the cost of putting the septic in and the cost for the engineer to design the system, and he got our permits with Nova Scotia Department of Health or Department of Environment, I guess it was, to get our permit for a septic system. So that was the price. Then we had to have building insurance, which we had to do before they put the septic in, was $2,000. Then our driveway, which is in now, was $6,000. A lot of that price was the gravel and removing the tree stumps. But where this happened while we were away, we had a lot of trees knocked down that were laying in the building site that when we cleared the lot, and John was very good about using the excavator to pick the logs up and set them to the side so that they didn't get buried and damaged. And I thank him for that, because he went above and beyond for that job. So the next stage that we have to go look at was our screw piles. We decided to build our house on screw piles, so it'll be up on posts. It won't be a foundation, it won't be a frost wall. We'll be skirting it in at a later date. We haven't gotten that done yet, but we made it through one winter and nothing really froze up, so that was okay. So we went to a couple of companies and we decided on Post Tech, and they came in with the price of $8,500 to do all of our screw piles. The big decision we made for doing that was there were two companies that do it, and their prices were fairly similar, but the services were not the same. So Post Tech came in and they looked at your blueprints. They sent the blueprint away to the engineers to decide how many piles they had to have, how much pressure it took to lock them in the ground, and then when they came out, they marked the site locations for the piles on the ground. The other company, I had to mark them myself, and they would put them exactly on the mark that I put. I'm not a surveyor. I'm not that accurate. and I don't know if I would have gotten them right, but if I had gotten them wrong, then that cost would have been at my expense. With Post-Tech, they took the blueprints, laid them out, and as it turned out, there was a mistake that was made. They came back and rectified it immediately at no cost to me, and when they replaced those piles, they gave us actually a better quality one on our deck, which allows us to build on that if we have to. We can enclose it and make another room if down the road something changes for us. The next part was our materials package, and that price came in at $34,000. We had 3 building supply places within delivery distance of us, so we sent quotes out to all. We sent packages out to all 3 of them, told them what we wanted for our package. So we wanted enough to get our house watertight. We didn't want the siding, we didn't want the roofing. We wanted the membrane, the strapping, but not the steel roofing that we were putting on, because we were getting that from another source. And but we wanted windows, doors, everything into the drywall, but no cupboards, flooring, anything like that. We were going to do it all ourselves. So of the 3 companies that we sent out to, 1 never responded. 1 took about 3 months to get back to us, at which time we were almost to the dry-in stage. And their quote was $145,000, but they included everything, right down to the toilet paper holder. So, which was not what we requested in the package. So the one we went with had responded in 2 days. They had done the takeoffs, came back with all the materials we were going to need, and in a 2-day turnaround time. And they gave us contractor prices because we were buying a whole house lot from them. So we thought that $34,000 was a very good price for that. We had talked to a guy I worked with who was an electrician. He and his son are doing this on their evenings, and all of the electrical work, they quoted us a price of $12,000. Very, very good price. It's great to work sometimes with an electrical contractor. It's also great if you have friends that know how to do this. They can make a little money on the side. You know, everybody can use a little extra money, and quite often they'll give you a little better price because they're not making their living and they don't have the same overhead. We supplied some of the fittings, they supplied some of the fittings, and they also hooked up our generator for us, which was a big plus for us. The plumbing quote we got to do the house came in at around $8,000, and that was, we thought, fairly reasonable. We did in-floor heating. We bought our own in-floor heating mats, the electronic thermostats, and those were a little more pricey than we thought, but we spent about $4,000 for remote controlled thermostats and the in-floor heating mats that we put in. They're almost like printed on plastic, and it was money well spent, but it was a luxury in the overall cost of things. Our flooring was fairly cheap. We got it at Costco, came in at about $1,200. Our cabinets, we budgeted about $10,000 for. We went with IKEA, and they have a wonderful plan online where you can go in, put in your room dimensions, the kind of cabinet you want. You can change things in, change things out. They'll measure them out, tell you what will fit, what won't, and give you a full price for it. So we looked at about $10,000 for our cabinets from IKEA. Our tub, toilets, and sinks, we bought those ourselves, and they came in at about $4,000. I think that's what we budgeted for it when we looked online. And then our appliances, technically not part of the build, but we wanted our appliances because this was a brand new build. We wanted everything to be brand new when we moved in, and we budgeted about $5,500 for appliances. Just because we knew that was what it would cost. They were on sale at Costco, and we bought a whole house lot, saved a lot of money by buying multiples when they had them on sale. So it pays to really look for sales when you're buying things. We had a propane water heater, a propane demand hot water heater. Because we have a small place, we didn't want a hot water tank, which takes up a lot of space. So the demand hot water heater was fairly small, and electric ones draw so much power that even our 22 kilowatt hour generator wouldn't run it. So we had to go with propane, but we already had a propane generator, so it just changed the number of tanks. So the propane hot water heater and the installation of the propane system, tanks, piping, and commissioning was about $4,000. Our generator we got lucky, we got it on sale at Costco again. We bought a lot of stuff at Costco. And the generator was $6,000, which is a 22,000 watt or 22 kilowatt hour or kilowatt generator, propane generator. It's an on-demand generator. It came with the transfer box and all the fittings to come on automatically when the power goes out. Which, living fairly rural, we have a lot of outages out here. Luckily, in the 2 years since we put it in, we've had very few outages, but they've always come at inconvenient times, and 15 seconds after the power goes out, the generator's on, runs everything in the house, and we're back in business. Around our deck, we put pet-proof screen. We've got 3 cats, and they like to climb, so we spent $500 on pet-proof screen, which means they can climb it, they can tear it, or they can climb it but they don't tear it. So that's all good things. We really like that. We had to put a heat recovery ventilator in by law here, or by code. So that exchanges, it's an air exchanger. You can get away with an air exchanger, but it doesn't. An air exchanger doesn't heat the incoming air with the outgoing air. So a heat recovery ventilator is a little more efficient to run. You don't lose as much heat, and it's not blowing such cold air in through the vents. So that cost us about $2,000. We put a heat pump in, and the heat pump cost us about $3,000. So by the time we bought it from, we bought a Senville unit, and we bought it online when they had a sale. So that cost about $2,000 to buy that, taxes in, delivered to the house, and then it was about $1,000 for installation. I had planned on putting it in myself, but I hurt my shoulder and couldn't hold that up and hook the pipes up. Rather than smash things up, I decided to break down and hire that job done. I think it was money well spent. And we put in an electric fireplace. Our original plans called for a wood stove. We thought the space that we planned for was a little tight, and we decided that we were going to, didn't really want to cut firewood, didn't want to go up on the roof, especially a steel roof now, and you're up in the winter when it's snow and ice, very slippery up there. So I didn't want to have to go up and clean chimneys, haul firewood in, clean. It's messy. It's beautiful heat. I love the fire. I love sitting by the fire, but it's messy. You're always taking ashes out, bringing wood in, cleaning chimneys, cutting firewood, splitting firewood, stacking firewood, hauling firewood. It's a lot of work. I'm getting older. We wanted something that was going to be simpler, so we went with an electric fireplace. And where we have the propane generator, even if the power goes out, we can sit there. It throws off heat, looks like realistic flames in it. We really enjoyed it. So the total price of that came to around $134,000. So the total of all of our estimates came to that. So we put in 20% contingency, which is $28,000. So we came in with a total, we came in with a total price with contingency of $162,000. So this price of $162,000 with the contingency was really a pretty good price. For a house that's a decent size for 2 people to live in, we thought it was really good. Now that's also that 20% contingency. Because we're building it ourselves, we have a way to control that contingency somewhat, and cut down on waste where we could. It means a lot more when you're building it yourself as compared to somebody coming in and saying, I don't like that, I'm going to throw it out, it's not my money, which is true because they bill you for it regardless. So with that price, and most of the estimates that we did on materials that we were buying, that we were supplying ourselves, were based on regular price. So we tried to do a good job of sourcing things when they were on sale, and we did get lucky as we went through. So that price of $162, I think I said, $162, compared to the prices that we got from contractors. So the first price we got as an estimate was the house without the deck, and the materials for the deck itself probably added about $8,000 to the cost of, was it about $8,000 in materials to the cost of the house, maybe a little bit more. But without the deck, a contractor quoted us $440,000. So with the deck, the $8,000 that materials that we put back on, we had another quote that came in at $500,000. So $8,000 worth of materials turned into another $52,000 worth of costs. So you can see how this can skyrocket quite a bit if you have to hire them. So at 162 minus 500,000, we saved $338,000 building our house, and that's if we used all the contingency. So that's more money than I've ever made in 1 year in my life. So it took us from the time we drove our first nail, like I've said it before, until we moved into the house was roughly 9 months. So I think $338,000 for 9 months work is very much worth it. And I think that really makes a house affordable for the average person. And this is why we started this project, to do the videos, to go back over what we did, because we know that people are struggling to find housing, and it's just unrealistic. $500,000 for us to live in a small home would have been probably a $3,500 to $4,000 a month mortgage payment, which we can't afford. Nobody can afford. Well, I shouldn't say nobody can afford that, but there are people out there that can afford that. The average person cannot afford that, plus having a life. This cost of our house, if you had to borrow, your 25% down, built the house at the contingency, you'd be looking at probably a $120,000 mortgage, which is like a $900 a month mortgage payment for 30 years. Most people can afford $900 a month. That's cheaper than rent. So if you really want your own house, consider building your own, because it's going to save you so much money and make it possible. And if you've got a group of friends who are all in the same boat, maybe you can all work together, because there's some things that are just too heavy for two people, one person or two people to handle. You're going to need help putting beams up, putting standing walls up, maybe putting your trusses up, because they're heavy and awkward. So if you can help each other, then you can build a community that builds your own houses, and everybody saves money. And this is what we're looking for in the long run with this. We want to save money and get people affordably into a house. May not be your forever home, maybe your starter home, but you can always turn around and sell the house and use that money to build a bigger house down the road. They always say that your third house that you build is a freebie. So in our case, it almost worked out that way. Not quite, but that's a story for maybe another day. Anyhow, that's where we are at this point. So once again, if you liked what I talked about today, and if you thought the information was valuable to you, please hit the like button and hit subscribe. And if you know somebody who's looking to buy a home, who's struggling to find a place to live, who thinks they may be able to do something like this, please feel free to share it with them, because the more people that see this, the more the information gets out. Even if it just gives you an idea to start on your own, and what I tell you doesn't apply to you, at least knowing that you can do it. I'm 62 years old. I was 61 when we started building the house. It's not a young person, and Melinda and I were able to build the house pretty much on our own. We're not carpenters, we're not professionals. This is our journey on building the house ourselves. And we asked a lot of questions. We looked at a lot of YouTube videos to learn things we didn't know, and we had to buy some tools. No guy ever said, I don't want to buy tools. I'm not that guy. I love buying tools. I love having a tool shed. That's the next project I have to build, is a new tool shed. But anyhow, if you liked what you saw, please hit subscribe and like, and we'll see you next time when we actually start talking about the building process. I think my next video may be the screw piles going in the ground. So have a nice day, and thank you for watching Black Rattle Life. So before we get started today, we're going to be talking about so then our materials package to actually start building the lumber and all the other materials came in at $34,000.
drift by, their painters in the blue, showing me what I can do. By the lake, I'm making a home, sticks and dreams, motor of my